Cool. So, episode 3. 3 officially makes this a trend, which is a stepping stone towards me pretending that this is a habit that I've got in the bag. This episode, this one, I actually have even less prepared than previously, which I only realised as I was setting up the camera is actually ironic, because today's I was going to talk about structure. Now, a million things have been said over and over again about structure, usually focusing on macro structure, the structure of the whole thing, the monomyth, the legends, the hero with 1,000 faces, all of them saying that the vast majority of stories follow certain beats, and the ones that don't tend to have people intentionally throwing out previous works. But that's not what I'm going to focus on now, because focusing on the overall thing it's not really where I tend to fall down. I can write something that's got a suitable structure, and then at the end you'll see that I roughly followed something like Joseph Campbell's steps. But at the minute, what I'm going to focus on instead, hang on, I'll use a different colour so you can actually tell I've scribbled that out properly, is microstructure. Now, microstructure, I'm talking about the difference going on from one beat to the next. That's something that I often struggle with because of timing, and I don't tend to give the world enough time to react within my stories. In real life, the world reacts properly whether you're there for it or not, and the differences in a story, you have to show that it's doing that, and it's just simple action, reaction, and they need to be equal and opposite. And you might not see the full extent of the reaction, but you need to give a chance for reacting time within your story. People need to adapt to what's new, or everything feels the writing equivalent of a run-on sentence. So I've previously, hang on, let me just put on a little light. Previously I have finished stories, and there was something about them that I just couldn't place. I didn't like it, I didn't like the structure, and it was years before I realised that it's just that I was jumping from one action to the next. I was going at a breakneck pace, and whilst I knew that bit, I didn't realise why that didn't sit right with me. I was aiming for something exciting and fresh, but if there isn't any time for reactions, it doesn't feel like the stakes actually mean anything. The other aspects of writing structure, the other aspects of microstructure that I'm going to look at are therefore and but. I think that one I first became familiar with from the YouTube channel Every Frame of Painting. Action and reaction, that's Newton. But story-wise, a bunch of places have told me that in the past. Therefore and but Every Frame of Painting was talking about Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of Book of Mormon and South Park, discussing how for ages they really struggled with and then. And this is how it ties in here. By having action leading to my character acting whilst just a little bit of reaction was going on, and then they were already acting before the next reaction came in, that made the story feel like this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Not this happened, therefore this happened, or this happened, but that leads to this happening. Um, and yeah, even there, even following that, because I would have this happen, therefore this happen, therefore this happen, or but this happen, that was also leading me to have troubles, because it didn't feel like there was room to breathe. I would set events in motion, and like with the classic tragedies, everything that came after was inevitable. That ended up having the problem of everything not just being inevitable but predictable, because I was following this too strictly. So we're coming on to the next bit of microstructure, and this you can certainly try. This is Matt Mercer, a dungeon master for Critical Role. He's actually what got me into Dungeons and Dragons, something I play as often as I can with a group that I wish I could see more, but yeah, 2020 was a little weird for that, and I don't need to tell you why. But when the party asks if they can do something weird, out there, random, or just incredibly unlikely to succeed, he normally goes for, you can certainly try. And he doesn't say it for everything. I think anyone who follows this too rigidly will be thrown by the roll of the dice a natural 20. If you told someone they can try, they believe there's a chance for success, but that's just it. Even if the chance for success is slim, they can certainly try, and that's something that I need to remember for the microstructure of my stories. However, the fact that it won't always work out is something where it allows me to choose what the characters possibly could do. They look at it and they should know it's a desperate move before they do something that's in this vein. And another thing that I practiced for a while whilst dungeon mastering was yes and. Classic thing for improv and a whole bunch of other stuff, but improv comedies where I first became familiar with the concept. I've never done it myself, but I know the basic premise is yes and. Someone says something and you just build on that. But this has the exact same problem as this, in that if you're just yes-anding, there's a reason that at the start of the shows they take suggestions from the crowd, because you need some incongruity, something unexpected, something out there in order for tension to rise. They yes and until that story is threatening to become predictable, and then they throw in one of the other aspects. The thing is, writing isn't like improv, in that you aren't rushing to make things make sense. Things only need to make sense towards the end. So if you have a structure in mind, if you've got your macro in mind, your microstructure doesn't always have to be yes and. In fact, what you want to have is your characters struggling, overcoming against the odds. They need to be working really hard. So instead of having yes and, you have yes but and no and. Now this, I can't 100% remember where I learnt it from, but I'm pretty sure it's either How to Be a Great GM or Matt Colville. Again, once Matt Mercer started getting me stuck in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, there is a huge amount of content you can just fall down the well of. and I am very grateful for that because it has definitely helped me get through 2020. And it's also helped me understanding stories. The reason that D&D has been so great for me is because I'm having to react to what the players are doing. I am having to make a story make sense on a micro level very quickly. So most of the stuff I do is yes and. However, in stories, overarching, you want them to struggle. So it's yes but and no and, meaning everything you do is just adding to the difficulty. They can win the battle, but their place in the war is worse off for it. And these are concepts that I have managed to grasp, I've managed to play in this space quite well, with one exception. And that is the one that I am absolutely going to be focusing on with this story. Something I'm going to be trying to learn from, something I'm already learning from, because I did manage to make my writing goal for yesterday as well. That is giving things the time to breathe. But giving it the time to breathe doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means giving the world a chance to react, or giving your character a chance to react to the world. And that back and forth between them being the driving force and being the unstoppable force and being the immovable object, the tension that creates. Just taking turns being each one. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure how to end this video because, as I said, this is another one where I have even less prepared. And yeah, looking at it now, the irony is really hitting me. This is a lot less full than previous ones have been. I just need to take it all in and remember. And yeah, I need to see if I can implement it with the rest of the day's video. Rest of the day's writing, I mean. So, I suppose that's it. I guess I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a great day.